What's up guys, it's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. So we did have a chat about the new heroes that are in the Shadow Summon from the Investigators and the Cultist families yesterday, but we did miss out the Untold Tales. So today we're going to have a quick look at our latest costume. It is just going to be a quick look because we're probably more familiar with these heroes, but they are some of the most desirable heroes in the game now that we have the Ancient Terror War, because as part of their passives, all of these costumes for the Mysteries of the Deep, for the Untold Tales, they now resist insanity. So the latest costume that we've got featured is this one for Persa. And the biggest question that I have right off the bat is, what the heck have they done? I mean, it looks like she's gone from being this sexy, sultry underwater princess to aging 30 years and donning her grandmother's pinafore. So that to me is quite odd. I have no idea why she's aged. Maybe she's just getting sick and tired of all of the new heroes that are released. Who knows? But anyways, she is our latest costume from the Untold Tales. So in terms of what she's doing, we'll just go over the basics really quickly. So she is, of course, a holy hero. She has had a bit of a switch around in terms of the class, from being a wizard to now being a druid. But I don't think that's such a bad thing, because the fact that she was a wizard class should give her the chance to deal extra damage based on buffs. But as part of her special skill, her priority is to dispel buffs, so it really doesn't work for her. So actually being of the druid class is not a bad thing. It also gives her that extra mana node where you get the 4% mana on the talent grid, so that could be good for her. Although it's not going to suddenly change her speed that much. It will give you an extra 2% mana, but you know, every percent counts, I guess. She is, of course, of the Nightmares of Atlantis family, so she still gets that bonus chance to cast negative mana generation. It's negative 10% mana generation for 3 turns on any enemy that deals special skill damage to her. And the hero, it gets family bonus when in a team of at least one related hero. So they get that bonus for the family, for the Atlantis family. I really hardly ever see that used, to be fair, but it does come into play a little bit. The big thing here is the costume bonus. So you are going to get a boost in your stats. Every single stat: attack 13%, defense 13%, health 18%, and the all-important mana bonus of 5%. So stack up that mana bonus plus the extra 2% that you get from the talent tree, and you could be able to speed her up. I don't know the exact maths, but that's an extra 7% that we've got on the mana so far, so that's pretty decent. She also gets the 50% chance to deal 80% damage to all enemies. That's on top of the damage she already does. And the caster gets 19% mana generation for 2 turns. I really like the passive of that one, the effect, the passive on special skill, plus, of course, as we've already mentioned, the resistance against insanity. So you cannot cast any insanity on this hero. She'll be super useful for the event that we're now going through for the cultists and investigators, and of course super useful for the insanity wars as well. In terms of ether talents, if you do go for second limit break, she's going to lose the attack up in the costume, and she's going to replace that with the special boost. So she gets an extra 30% additional damage to her special skill for the first 6 turns. I don't know which I'd rather prefer. I think I'd probably prefer the attack up, but otherwise everything else is really decent so far. We've already had a look at the stat increases, but I just want to make sure that I check this. So a little bit higher attack, pretty much the same on defense, and exactly the same on HP. So not a huge change around in terms of the stats there. She's still a more attacking type of hero, and that's good because she is dealing some damage. So you wanted to do as much damage as possible. Now her special skill, it's changed from Ocean's Ruin to Ocean's Decay. And of course she runs at the Changing Tides mana speed. So that means her first cast is at fast speed, second cast at average, and then she stays on the second cast for the rest of her casts, but it goes between average and fast speed and average speed every time. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, you need to play around with these heroes a bit. Okay, so the first cast, we can see she still steals all dispellable buffs from the target and randomly distributes them on allies, same as before. She used to deal 455% damage to the target, and the target received spreading corrosive poison for 4 turns. The spreading corrosive poison dealt 443 poison damage and lowers the target's mana generation by 15% each turn, and it now deals extra damage against heroes with minions or to mega minions. So that is super important about the corrosive damage. The corrosive damage has been given a buff, so it now applies extra damage against mega minions. And of course, the effect spreads to the nearby enemies. It's really nice because it lasts for 4 turns. So that's the main thing about this, is there's a nice long duration on that spreading poison damage. Now, she has lost a little bit of damage on the first skill. So it's gone from 455% damage down to 450% in the costume version. And the corrosive poison's been reduced. So it was in the non-costume version 443. This is with the limit breaks and emblems. If you don't have limit breaks and emblems, I'll just show you guys just to illustrate what I'm saying. It's 298 without the limit breaks and emblems, but with them, it's up to 443. So the attack stat dictates how much poison damage you're going to be doing. And that has been reduced for the costume version on the first cast. So the spreading corrosive poison's 372 per turn, and the mana generation's lowered by 10% each turn. So again, the mana generation's been reduced on the first cast. And this is not the first time that we're seeing this. But the second tide is where this is where it's all happening. So again, she's going to steal all the dispellable buffs from the target and randomly distribute them on allies. She's going to do 515% damage to the target this time. And then the spreading corrosive poison goes up to 690 poison damage and lowers the target's mana generation by 25% every turn. Wow, that's a big amount of poison damage every single turn. Again, she gets the extra damage against the minions and the mega minions. Super useful for heroes like Dia-chan, the War of Three Kingdoms minions that are just super annoying. Also for all of the heroes in the goblins and the garrison guards that summon those mega minions, also super annoying. She's going to be really, really useful for that. Even against the slimes, she's going to be useful for that because of that amount of damage. And if you think about the spread with this, so 690 per turn for 4 turns. 4 turns is a long enough time for that effect to spread right across the board and be doing that poison damage to the entire team. It doesn't reset the turn count, unfortunately, when it spreads, but it does do a heck of a lot of damage. So yeah, I like this hero a lot. And in fact, to compare that sort of damage, let me just quickly go out here. One of my favorite heroes at the moment is this guy, Daroga. It's a lot more damage. It says 1,845 bleed damage over 3 turns. But that spreading effect to nearby enemies is really, really super good. But it doesn't spread to the entire team. So you are losing out a bit in terms of the damage. But with Persa, it's lasting for a whole extra turn. So yeah, I really, really like that. On the second charge especially, I think that's just... it's humongous, 690 poison damage, but the negative mana generation as well at 25% is huge because it means the other team's just not going to be able to come back from it. So I don't think I was completely sold on Persa when she originally came out, but to be honest, I'd really, really love to grab this hero now, not just for the passives, but for the actual special skill itself. And the dispel that she does up front, again, it's really super useful because that means that she's not going to be taking damage herself from any counterattacks or any other horrible nastiness. Just want to see exactly how it compares to the original. 490% was at the second charge, so she's got a whole extra 25% damage, and then the poison damage was 502. The mana generation reduction was 20%. It's now gone up to 25%. And remember, she stays at that second charge for the whole duration. So yeah, I like this new costume for Persa. I'm not going to argue with anything that's happening here. I think she's better in pretty much every single way, shape, and form. Except for the freaking oldness of her. I don't understand it, but otherwise she's really a better hero. So huge congratulations to any of you guys who do manage to grab this hero. I think she's going to definitely be one that you will want to pump some limit breaks, emblems, and alphas into. She is featured alongside Dom Eventus, just the coolest looking hero in the entire world, who again, like I say, he's also benefiting from that corrosive damage and the damage against minions. He's also benefiting from that resist insanity passive. And then we've got Atlantia as well, and she also is now benefiting from the corrosive damage as well. So really going hard with every single hero in this portal that's featured that is benefiting from that corrosive damage and from that passive as well for the Insanity Wars. So that is pretty much everything that I've got to say on the new costume for Persa. I definitely think that this is a good portal now to be summoning in with these costumes coming in. We haven't quite got all of the costumes released, but I do think that we are going to be getting there pretty damn soon. The rates, I'm just having a quick look. So yeah, it's 1% for the featured, 4% for non-featured. And then you've got 0.2% for Atlantis and 9.9% for a classic. So 1.4% chance that you're going to be able to get one of these featured heroes with costumes. That's another one I'd love, Medea, honestly. Yeah, you'd be doing pretty well if you do manage to grab any of these new costumes for the Mysteries of the Deep heroes. So yeah, that's everything I got to say. Please do let me know in the comments what you guys think. Drop us a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. Shout out to all my members. We do have memberships available on the channel, so if you feel like supporting me, that's always amazing. And yeah, I will see you guys again soon. Share it with your mother. See you again next time. Bye for now.